You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Alrighty, hey, it's Walter. You know what? I want to start out with the story I just saw. It's iWalter. It is July 31st, the last day of this month. And I wasn't going to do another show, but then I decided to do one anyway, because I did one late in the day, right before work. Literally right before work, so half-hour show. Yeah, this story I can't ignore, so I have to read it. Why would I ignore it anyway? But I guess most people must think at this point, whoa, this guy Walter, he's a racist, a sexist, and he just hates people in general. Well, the last part might be true. I do hate people, but that's besides the point. This is something that just really caught me off guard. And by the way, I did a test on my sound check first, and I had the TV on the fan, and I still do at the same levels, and it didn't seem to pick it up, so I'm hoping it is not. Yeah, this was the one to pick. I'm looking at other stories from myfoxphilly.com. This was in Philadelphia. Cute little kid. Oh, I just spit in my screen. Unintentionally, though. And cute little kid. She's a little black girl, 5 years old. And, is it really necessary to tell you if the girl's white, black, Caucasian, whatever? Well, I don't know. I just wanted people to know, just because I talk about certain people, certain ethnicities, if it's Jewish, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't matter. It's just, I have to try to focus my show on one subject and not, it's non-consistent, it's whatever comes to mind. But this one just really stuck out. So anyway, it says police, it's titled, Police, Girl 5 Taken from Home and Beaten, Left in Yard. So there's a video with it. This poor little kid was sleeping in her own bed. She was put to bed, and they found her in, I guess, nearby her house, but she was severely beaten with a broken jaw and everything else. So that's really frightening. I mean, is it come to that? I don't know. Obviously it has, because this was in Philadelphia. It's like, 45 minutes from my house. Police believe the intruder took a 5-year-old girl from the North Philadelphia home overnight Tuesday and kicked her until she was semi-conscious. Police are describing this as a single incident. This is really scary, though. The kid was asleep, a little girl, removed from her home and beaten for no reason at all. I mean, I don't even understand this. I don't know what compelled somebody to do this. Anyway, it said the 5-year-old Cynthia was found Tuesday morning with a broken jaw, skull fractures, and abdominal bruises. She's in stable condition at a hospital. I mean, if I'm this little kid, this girl is going to be marked for life. She's going to be afraid even to sleep in her own bed or any kind of bed, because that's like a nightmare, in my opinion. That's a nightmare come true. This poor kid is going to spend the rest of her life probably having nightmares. I mean, this is going to traumatize her for just more than just what happened. I'm praying to God for her sake it doesn't, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does, because things that happened in my past still come back to haunt me, so when I was a little kid. So I wanted to put that on top. There was some other articles that looked interesting, but that one I had to get out of the way. Yeah, you know what? It's a video, so I can't really describe this one. There's nothing really to read. This next one I saw. I am going to post it, though. It says, shark sighting in Avalon shakes up beachgoers. These sharks are just out of control this time. I don't know what is going on that there are so many shark incidents, but yeah, this one was actually on. I saw it when I wanted to read that other story first. Anyway, I'm going to post another story. I just wanted to get that. I mean, hopefully everybody, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, what else can I say? But I hope everybody says a prayer for that little kid, and hopefully she'll be all right. Yeah, oh, by the way, happy birthday to Wesley Snipes. He turns 53 today. I love him as an actor. I loved him. Wesley Snipes, where I know him from, because that's what they're showing a picture of, was from those Blade movies. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I got jaded I got to like Wesley Snipes because of those movies. And because of that, I actually watched some other films he was in, because it says right here, his basically his main role was Blade 2, and Blade Trinity. I didn't like Trinity that much. I liked the first two movies he did, but it said he was also known for Expendables 3, Demolition Man, and the White Man Can't Jump. I did think I saw him in Demolition Man, because that was like a science fiction film, if I remember correctly. They said he was born in Orlando, Florida. He turns 53. Happy birthday to Wesley Snipes. It was kind of funny today, because I was going to watch a little bit more, because I didn't get much of a chance at work. I ended up doing other things, because my free time, I mean. Not like, oh, okay, you didn't do any work tonight? No, I mean, my free time, I didn't get a chance, because usually, when I have my own time, given to me, I generally I'm going to, try to watch the remainder of that Ghost Whisper. Anyway, a friend reminded me, because it was on HBO tonight. I was at work. I didn't get to watch it. I could probably have. I think we have HBO, my parents and I. I'm not sure. But he said, I thought that's what a friend said. He said they had on this movie called Malibu's Most Wanted. It was like, okay, well, that's Jamie Kennedy. And I didn't realize Jamie Kennedy never went to any film school, acting schools. He basically got into acting right out of high school. Now, it gets better yet, but anyway, Jamie Kennedy's in Malibu's Most Wanted. That was like one of my favorite movies. I remember when it came out, I never laughed so hard. And it was one of these things that I actually was ashamed to go see it almost. So I ended up doing one of those numbers where I downloaded it when I was still doing that. Was downloaded movies the wrong way, which now I don't. I pay for everything. So I really liked that film. So I went on Amazon. It was like $5 if you're a Prime member, $5-6. It was like, I'll just buy it, because I will watch it on occasions, and I laughed. I will laugh at it, because I laughed back then. I would never laugh so hard in my life watching that film. So anyway, Jamie Kennedy, though, I did not notice. I mentioned this to a friend. Jamie Kennedy actually is from my neck of the woods. I got to look for it again. And I was really shocked, because he's like a half an hour away from my house. So I'm sorry about that. I'm looking it up now. I did remember. I got okay. Yeah, he's 3 years younger than me. He's actually 45, and I'm 48. And he actually dated Jennifer Love Hewitt. Now, Jamie Kennedy was on for 2 seasons on Ghost Whisper. Basically, the same time he was dating Jennifer Love Hewitt. He played a character that was not her love interest or her husband. That was kind of weird, because they kept the same guy for the whole 5 seasons of the show. So anyway, yeah, that show took many different twists and turns. It just didn't seem to make much sense. I'm starting to realize, like, they just kind of changed things abruptly, which it didn't stop me from wanting to watch the show, because I still really, really enjoyed the show so far. I'm on the last season. Anyway, Jamie Kennedy was born and raised in Upper Darby, PA. So that is literally half an hour from my house, 30 minutes from my house. I actually went to Cabrini College, so from there it was probably like 5 or 10 minutes away where he was born and raised, you know, and I graduated in 86. He graduated in 88. I think I graduated in 86 from high school. But unlike me, I went to college. He didn't go to college, and yet he's got a nice long list of things he was, you know, in. He basically started as a voiceover, I think they said, or something like that. I was just really surprised. It's like I always got embedded in my head, you have to go to college to actually be, you know, become somebody. You can't, you know, make it big without going to college, which is not the truth. Because two of the talk show hosts I like were, you know, well, one did get a 4-year degree, and the other one actually dropped out of college. And I'm talking about Rush Limbaugh dropped out of college after the first semester, I think. And Howard won for 4 years. But Jamie, like, actually really surprised me, because Jamie Kennedy never went to college, and yet he was pretty damn successful being out in L.A. So I was like, wow, I really went about this the wrong way completely. So I was kind of shocked. Anyway, another story I just found before I went on the air, I was kind of surprised by this when it was on Cinema Blend. They said, it basically was started. I'm going to go back to what it said, because it kind of blew my mind. If you ever watched those movies, because there was 2 of them, I believe, Legally Blonde almost starred this actress instead of Reese Witherspoon, which really shocked me. The person who was supposed to take the part and did not take it was, because I forgot her name today. It was because I was talking about her today, and I said, oh, yeah, you know, the blonde-haired girl, they're going to be bringing back Married with Children, probably, like, bring back the original characters. And I couldn't remember the one person who also played in, I'm going to mention her name, by the way, the one person who played in Anchorman and Anchorman 2, it was Christina Applegate. She was the one originally set to play Legally Blonde. She never did it. So I'm not going to read it or destroy that article. I don't think. Excuse me, I've been belching a lot lately, haven't I? Yeah, she was really hot back in the day. It's hard to imagine that anyone playing Eli Woods other than Reese. Is that Eli? I can't remember the character's name, but other than Reese Witherspoon, the Legally Blonde role was one of the performances that was put eventual Oscar winner on the map. Yeah, because Reese Witherspoon played in some really good movies. I really like Legally Blonde. I was one of those people that pathetically loved the movie. I actually bought it, I think, at one point. After all, apparently Christine Applegate shied away from the opportunity to play the role, and though it sounds like she has mixed feelings about passing on the part, also a specific reason. If you're familiar with her Married with Children character, you may be able to guess why. Yeah, because she kind of played like a sleazy daughter, almost like a prostitute-looking girl. I got something to mention about that, not with Christina Applegate, though. But, yeah, she was best known for that, but she did do a... Well, I would think also probably... she's probably best known also for Anchorman and Anchorman 2, I would think. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't going to go into many of these stories. I'm looking through my stories now, by the way. Hey, they actually put a really decent picture up of Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga, which really kind of still gets in my groin because I could have taken really good pictures, and unfortunately, I didn't want to create a problem, which I'm glad I didn't, because I probably would like to go back when I to the Brigada down in Atlantic City. That's where I saw them, and they told me to put my camera away, which I just basically did so. Now, there's people with their camera phones that were taking pictures and their flash was going off. It's like, what's the difference? But obviously, in my mind, I mentioned this before, probably because the pictures with a camera phone aren't going to turn out as good as they will with a regular camera. So they don't want you to take really good pictures and then end up trying to sell them off, which I wouldn't do. Trust me, I'd give them away, but I wouldn't sell them. Yeah, I kind of went off like I normally do in a different direction, but I did want to mention about work a little bit, something that got me upset. Actually, going to work got me upset. But there was an article that had stuck out of the crowd, so to speak, in the TimesHerald.com, my local newspaper, Norristown Times Herald. And it was titled, Upper Merion Bank Robber Suspect Caught Trying to Flee in Cab. Basically, he was stealing money from, I guess, well, maybe I should just read it directly. Police arrested suspect who allegedly robbed a PNC bank on East DeKalb Pike Thursday and an attempt to flee in a taxi cab. That is a real dumb, what do you call it? That is a real dumb robber. According to the press release issued in Upper Merion Police Department, the robber alarm was sounded at the bank approximately at 3:57 p.m. Investigators reported that the male suspect entered the bank and handed a teller a note demanding money and implying that he had a weapon. Although no weapon was displayed, the suspect took an undisclosed amount of cash and exited the bank. And he took a taxi. God, that's unbelievable. I don't know how he pulled that one off. Almost got to give him kudos for two different reasons. One, he was a complete moron. Two, that as stupid as he was, that he was able to get away with doing something that dumb. So you got to give somebody credit that's that dumb and who actually gets away with being that stupid. I mean that's amazing. That really is, actually. Yeah, there was something I'm trying to regain what I wanted to talk about. I lost my train of thought. But so I apologize. I did a little bit better job today because I was under pressure. So now I'm not, and look what happens. I'm a mess. Oh, you know what? This was kind of funny too. I'm going to go off on a stray again. And it was with Hillary Clinton, and it was on IJReview.com, and it says, it's titled, I'm not going to bother to read it, but it says, here's Hillary's look, what Hillary looks like, Hillary Clinton, after a $600 haircut. It says, shut down an entire salon. So, I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. And a $600 haircut. I mean, these people, they have all these charities, these Clintons, and all the money, like 90% of the money goes to themselves. Like, they act like they're so humble, and they're not. And they don't even try to hide the fact. And they lie through their teeth, and people believe them, which is even more scary. So I'm trying to wean into what I wanted to talk about, because I was a little bit I was really upset at work tonight. Kind of. I'll explain that in a minute. And I mentioned I was upset going to work. Well, the part that got me upset going to work was I'm trying to get in my car, and I run out the door. We had gotten my parents had gotten their driveway resurfaced, or not resurfaced. They got it tarred, basically, which I think they needed it resurfaced because it looks better, but it still looks like crap at the same time, if that makes any sense. So we've been parking in our street, our neighborhood street, and across at the neighbor's house. Well, my parents have two cars. My mom doesn't drive. She can't because she can barely see. She's got major problems with her vision. So my father drives her around because he's retired. Both of them are. So it was like, okay, one of the two cars my parents have they barely use. It was like, well, why don't you park that one across the other side of the street so I don't have to run back and forth, worried about getting killed. And, he finally did it. My father finally did that. He finally allowed me to park in front of our house instead of across the street, which was really dangerous. So anyway, I'm like trying to get to work today. I was petrified in a private development to cross the street because people were flying through our development, like not even stopping. And I know my father complained, and now we got these road signs that said the speed limit's 25. We got stop signs. They go more like 65 or 70, even though the speed limit's 25, and they fly through the stop sign. So I got to walk across the street. I almost got killed, like several times. And I tried to tell this to my parents. I said, one, I was so worked up from trying to get out the door and knowing I had to cross the street, almost getting killed, that I called my parents. I said, listen, you might want to check the door when you get home. I think I might have forgot to lock it. And in addition to that, I'm like a mess because I almost got killed trying to get into my car because we have to park in the street. And it's like, it would have been easier if I was able to park on, the side that our house is on, not the other side of the street. So anyway, that being said, my dad asked our neighbor across the street where I parked. He asked this guy, he said, is the traffic as bad as my son's saying? And I'm kind of paraphrasing, something on that line. So the neighbor said, yeah, I actually saw 12 cars within a small amount of time, because he works, our neighbor across the street's always working in his yard constantly because he's retired, and the place looks great. His house, his shrubbery, his house looks great because he takes care of everything. He has plenty of time to do so too, which is, hey, that's fine. That's his hobby. But he said 12 cars flew through our development and never, ever stopped at the stop signs in our development. They never stopped. They just flew through the stop signs like they weren't even there. So then my dad said, oh, yeah, I called the police about this. Not like they're going to really do anything. But, yeah, when you got 12 cars that never stop, they fly through the development, they don't use turn signals, and they almost ran me over. And my dad didn't believe me until he heard it from the neighbor next door. He says, yeah, I saw what was going on, not with me, but just what's going on in general. So it really kind of raised an eyebrow with my dad. And we hear this all night long. People fly through our development. They don't stop. They drive like literally 50 miles over the speed limit because it's 25. They're going like 60, 75. And it's a small development. So anyway, it was funny. I mentioned this to a friend, and he found some article not from where I live around here in Trooper, but this was in New York. And I seen this when I was driving in Jersey and Philadelphia, where these people just cut you off randomly, don't use any turn signals, pull out in front of you, and literally get into near clipping your car. So anyway, there was this article in CBS News New York a friend found. It says, exclusive, somebody actually recorded road rage fight caught on video on Long Island Expressway. This was in New York City. And the guy videotaped it. He reported it, but they never did anything about it because they said nobody reported the two cars that caused this road rage. And I said, and even if you watch this video, because I have it on my Facebook page, by the way, it's on the New York.cbslocalnews.com. You can see the whole incident happen, but this one car deliberately, this little red car, beat up piece of crap, literally cut off this truck, like just cut right over into his lane, and then they came to a complete stop. So he was playing games, he or she or whoever it was. And the truck basically just plows the car off or try to get around it. It literally plows the car off the road because it was pissed. And I would be pissed too, and just never report it. And I hate to say it, but this news segment also mentioned the newscasters who had read the story and showed the video. They said, well, there's more roads and more people very short-tempered. It's like, yeah, well, you know why there's more people on the road? Because most of these people don't have licenses. And I don't mean to be, because this is going to sound racist, but most of these are racist. I'm sorry. I guess that would be the right word. But most of these people are in our country illegally. So, you know what? I hate to say it, a lot of these people that are illegal in our country, amongst some other groups of people in our country, since they've gotten, and I'm talking about the left-sided wackos who don't want to work and just freeload off the government, they've gotten such a big fucking chip on their shoulder now. They don't give two craps on what they do because, they got the upper hand over the people that are the working class and the people that actually try to do things the correct way in life. So that is the major issue. That now we're stuck with these people who do whatever, I'm going to definitely have to put a flag on my show tonight, which I normally do. But we got too many people who just do whatever the fuck they want to do, and they know there's nobody going to stop them. It's definitely not going to be the government, I'll tell you that much, because nobody seems to care at all. So I don't know, and I don't know when this is going to change. I'm at this point, I'm afraid it's not going to change. And unless we get somebody really in government, in the upper hands of our government that actually will say, you know what, we're going to stop all this nonsense. And one of them would be, if you're in this country illegally, you're not going to get a driver's license. You're not going to get housing assistance. You're not going to get anything else. You're going to get the fuck out of the country. That's what we need. So I hope that happens eventually. I know there's going to be a lot of people who hate me for saying that, but I'm sick and tired of it. I really am. Anyway, I think that was like the main stuff that there's some other things on my Facebook page I could read. But I was at work tonight. I heard some interesting news at my job. Apparently, we had some just recently. They were forewarned the first time around at our job that, hey, there's going to be some layoffs. And we have this thing at our job that you can bump somebody if you have more time over them, work time. Like if you've been at this company that I work at longer than Madam X or Mr. X or whatever you want to call them, so-and-so, you can bump that person out of their job. Unfortunately, that person has to bump somebody else, and it trickles down that you won't be the one out the door. That other person may not be one out the door, but eventually somebody's going to be leaving the company and not coming back. So that was done, I think, at the beginning of the year. People knew, okay, you're going to have 6 months to figure out what you're going to do. If you're going to be able to stay within the company. It's like, think of it like the place I work. There is no other way to put it. It's like musical chairs. You know when you play that as a kid, and basically the music would play, and then it stopped, and a chair was removed. At this time, it was like 40 chairs were removed. And whoever can't find a seat, you're out of the game. Well, with the place I work, you're out of a job. So, and I've heard there's more companies now that are doing this, or just randomly laying people off and not really giving them any notice. So, but this time, the people at my job, they had a notice. They were able to prepare themselves. And they said, okay, by January 1st, we're going to let you know who's laid off and who's not. That was the beginning of this year. Then when they got around July, they said, okay, actually it was maybe sooner than that, but it was around somewhere in the summertime. They said, okay, we're going to be shutting down to reevaluate everything. We gave you a warning, and whoever did not find a job, don't, as of January 1st, don't come back. The other people that were able to stay, you can basically train the person who had bumped you out of your job. And, as of the second week in July, you're going to go to your new job. Other ones just had no job. They had no job as the beginning of this year. Something like that. So, but the bottom line is, some people got a little bit of a forewarning. Other ones got maybe less. But they had something. Well, here I just found out, because nobody told me about this, but apparently I think it was either the end of last week or the beginning of this week, they just basically laid off more people. And it was like this time there was no notification. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to let you know now you're going to be laid off. No, it was just said and done. You're getting laid off. You're leaving. So that was kind of shocking, and it wasn't my job credentials, but somebody else's. So here we get a bunch of people now that, with no forewarning, we're just told you're out of a job. So it's gotten obviously much more scarier at our job. So I might lighten up because there was some other article I can't find now. I'm kind of surprised. I have no idea with it. Sorry. Now, before I was belching this morning, now I'm just yawning. So that's one thing, that our job right now, they're just basically not giving people warning. Hey, I could come in today and be out of a job tomorrow. That's how scary it's kind of gotten, and that's like everywhere though. So that's even more so. That's actually more scary, yeah. So, I'm sorry. I'm trying to look for this other story, too. To lighten up the mood again. But anyway, yeah, there was that. So that's bad enough. I'm like, you're worried about your job, and you're probably even thinking, how could this possibly get any worse? Well, it can, because the particular building I work in right now, has actually gotten more so. It's gotten even more scary because where I work, I mentioned this in other shows. I work with certain people in the building I work in right now that, for some reason, and it does remind me of high school. So don't get me wrong about that. I've said this before, that it reminds me exactly like high school, because these people act like they're still teenagers in school. And what they do is they pick somebody out. They pick one particular person that they just make into the worst person on the face of the universe. And when they do that, though, they basically make your life a living hell. And I mentioned this to a friend tonight walking out that used to be in that building, and she basically said, this one friend of mine, this woman, she said that, those people in your building that she used to work in, she said, they're all assholes. That's exactly what she said. And it was like, she said, I've seen these people in action before. If they don't they pick out one person, they basically try to destroy it. And this is a professional company that I work at. That they try to pick out one person, they tear them apart, they tear them down, and then she said, I've seen them that they not only tore them down, but they actually got certain people fired. So it's basically, that's no different than what goes on in high schools when you read about these news articles about people being bullied, but this is like a professional place. People with kids, married or not married, but with kids, anywhere between their late 20s, early 30s, probably 40s and 50s and up, and they act like that. They literally find somebody, they just make that person the protagonist, they torture them, and then they basically get them fired. And I'm the next one on the list. I knew this for a while. And the biggest thing I complain about on these shows, because it just drives me insane, which is not a very hard thing to do, because I've been there before, is, my big thing is, though, you got these women that are married women, single moms and stuff, and they're obviously on the prowl. I don't know how else to put it. And I only tell my people that may listen to me, which is like a total of 12 people maybe at any given point. That's the average. Or my friend at work, that, okay, there's some women that they look like they should be with a pimp on the street corner, but they definitely dress inappropriately. So me and this friend said, the friend who I talked to, she's an older lady, she's 10 years older than me, exactly 10 years older. So she's 58, and she said, when I got hired at this job, Walter, there was a dress code, and she said, I was told, and everybody else that got hired at this job, you have to wear either khaki pants or, something that's semi-casual, professional, but you have to dress that way. But for some reason, like high school, these women, they feel like, well, I'm hot to trot, so I should be able to wear whatever I want. I'm not going to listen to the dress code. And they wear, like I mentioned before, like they're ready to go work out at a fitness center, or they're going to be on a street corner with their pimp. That's just the way they look. Not everyone. Not all of them dress that way. So I'm just trying to clarify that. But there is certain women that dress that way. They're not even kids. They're women. They're in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s. I mentioned this before. Once you cross over from the age of 17 to 18, you're an adult. You're no longer a child. But some people, they continue to act like children until the day they die. So anyway, that being said, I come to work. The people that I'm supposed to have a meeting with, we have like a meeting of between shifts. It's just a verification that the supervisors know what's going on, so they can account for everybody, to make sure nobody either got killed or didn't show up. This is the reason we have these meetings. They're just basically, they're the meeting just to change shifts to make sure everybody's accounted for, blah, blah, blah. So I come there and not one person, I'm not saying nobody showed up, but not one person from my group, well, actually my group they did, but from my group of people, let me put it another way. From my group of people, a majority of the people did not show up, and it was mainly like this particular girl, will not mention her name, never mentioned it before, and won't mention it again, who was on the top of the list of dressing like very inappropriately, did not show up. She's done this before, and what she does, though, she will show up when it's time to clock out to go home, the time punch out to go home. Then she shows up at your hide, and it was very specifically obvious it was towards me, because I'm the one who mentions it on this radio show and mentions it to a friend at work. So obviously, it comes down to, well, I'm going to dress the way I want, and I don't want you to look at me. So how mature is that? And she's a single mother, too. So there's nothing mature about anything that I just stated. Not for me, but the way she acts. So it's like, okay, this is another one of these irritating days where the girl's going to pretend like either not go, like I did not show up to one of these meetings before we were supposed to have for changing of the shifts. And I got basically told you have to show up because it will be held against me. But now this girl who victimized herself, it's all right that she didn't show up because of the situation with me, I'm sure. Now, most people are going to say, you don't know what you're talking about. You're taking it too seriously. Don't take it seriously. You're talking to a person when you say that, if you would, that when I was in college, I had a girl who repeatedly slammed the door in my face and then called me a fucking asshole for no reason at all. For literally no reason at all. I had, where I went to college at Cabrini, I had girls slam doors in my face all the time. And they did it on spite. And then on top of it, the same college that I graduated from, the one day my advisor / my professor had pulled me into his office because he used to have a lot of tenure there until they tried to force him to quit. But because I had a blog, they weren't called blog pages. I had a web page made from this thing called Homestead back in the day, because you're talking like 14 years ago. This thing called Homestead, you make your own web page and stuff. It was free at the time too. Well, it was back then. That was my way. I used to vent about people that bothered me back then. Was on this web page, not a blog page, an actual physical web page. So I would basically have a part of my web page that I had back in the day. Part of it was just about my history, my interests. Another part was just me, just a vent like I am doing exactly right now. So anyway, my professor, his name was Dr. Arthur Young, called me in the office and he said, you know what, we need to straighten this out. Right now, in another room from where we were sitting, there was a lawyer and a psychiatrist to find me mentally ill. And the lawyer was there to hand me a fine for $100,000. So this is why when I say that I don't trust people or what's going on at work, if I think they're out to get me, it's not that I'm being paranoid. It's because it happened to me in the past. So anyway, the situation that happened at Cabrini, though, the professor said, listen, I'm going to talk to these people. I'm going to tell them to drop the charges against me because they had charges against me at the school. And I'm going to tell you, you don't have to take down your webpage, but he said the worst problem is I did put an icon, which was copyrighted, for Cabrini College on my webpage, the page that I was complaining, a link on my webpage to another page I had on my web. I had different links, different web pages that all linked to me. And they were all, stuff that I wrote, like different, they were basically blogs, but they were actually on my own kind of domain web page. So he said, if you take the icon off, they can't stop you from stating what you want because it's freedom of speech. So he told me, you don't have to take down what you're writing about the school. You do have to take the Cabrini emblem off your page because that's the only way they're able to nail me. So I'm very careful. When I do my podcasting and when back in the day, I learned a lot from that people can't persecute you as long as you don't give them a reason to do so. And the only loop they had with me back at Cabrini College was, because I know I went on a stray, was because of this emblem from Cabrini College. So I'm very careful. Most of the time. I might slip up, but I'm very careful because I know how people will stab you in the back. So anyway, going back to this story about the way I kind of seen some red flags go up and people saying, oh, you're taking it too seriously, that, the reason they didn't show up to work, maybe they left early. You're just taking everything too seriously with this girl who dresses like in spandex all the time, ultra tight spandex. Well, I hate to tell you, in the past, this same person this friend who told me that don't take it seriously, also told me these people have ganged up on other people and got them fired. So they have a reputation, for one thing. And two, to make it even worse, I went to my computer. We have these things. They're called standard operating procedures. They're basically things you have to read over for the government, basically, so they can, the place I work, you have to read SOPs. And these papers basically tell you, and you got to keep up your information updated, that you understand the procedures we do to do our job. But guess what? They slipped into my pile of things. It's all done on a computer online. Like, I have an account, my name, that it's addressed to me. These are the things I have to read. Guess what was in the pile of things I had to read, folks? There was one in there for sexual harassment and how to have the understanding what sexual harassment's about. Had me sign it, and also about racial discrimination. So we usually get that one time a year. Well, I did it at the beginning of the year, but I got it handed to me again. I was supposed to print. I had to print it out, and I had to make sure I signed it. So what is that telling you? Is my over paranoid behavior? Is it just that? Am I really being paranoid? Okay, but why did I get something randomly again directed towards me? Nobody showed up that made me read and understand what sexual harassment's about and have me sign it. So that means they can easily now go, especially this one girl at work, and say, well, I don't like the way he looked at me. And I hate to tell you this, folks. Well, I'm going to turn it around and say, well, you need to read, while you're reading me the code of conduct and what is sexual harassment or being discriminatory, I want you to read your own policy. This is what I'm going to tell them when this happens, because I know it will happen in the next to the near future, in the next couple days or in the near future, I'm going to say, did you read what is appropriate dress code, what is the appropriate dress code and what is not? And once I say that, I want to make sure they look at this girl's history on how she dresses on her way to work. I mean, no offense. You know what? What that old saying is, you fight fire with fire. And that's what I'm going to exactly want to do. If they try to nail me, for one thing, that's technically, that would be, I like to call it slander, but if it's verbal, it would be liable. But if they present me a paper that I am harassing this girl, that is right off the bat, that's slander. I could take that to any lawyer, any court, and it would be an open and shut case, because all I have to do is have some key witnesses, and even if I don't, they can just go and see how, and it's her word against mine, but this one will stand out, because this girl can't go more than 2 days before she dresses that way again inappropriately. So she's going to actually just basically bury herself. So anyway, that was something that just really got me mad today. I mean, I thought I saw everything with the passive aggressiveness, them ganging up on me, them ostracizing me, but now they had taken to a new level, which was very obvious, especially when this one group that basically hovers around this girl who wears the provocative clothes, none of them were there today at our muster. So that really got me angry. And I know I'm just waiting, I'm buying my time, that they're going to try to comment or get me up in HR at my job and saying that I was sexually harassing this girl. And you know what? I hate to say it. A friend even laughs when I say, yeah, they're going to try to get me on sexual harassment. But when I felt this coming for a long time, because he knows me, my other friend, not this woman friend, it's another friend I have. He's obsessed with going, not as much as he used to, going to these strip clubs. And I go in there, and I hate to say it, I go to these strip clubs with him. He pays for me because he knows I don't want to be there. I said, listen, I don't want to go here. I have no interest in seeing women stripping down to a thong or nothing at all. It does not excite me at all. So if I'm this big pervert, why would that not excite me then? So it doesn't. So I've gone to these places before, and I was like, you know what, I want to leave. Before I even go in, I just feel really uncomfortable about that. So, and I remember the one time this friend, more than once, I have on my cell phone, one time I was playing this video game, the original one, of Doom, the 2D version, they said was 3D. I was playing that in Wolfenstein on my cell phone, the original one, from id Software, while he was watching the strippers. He gave me money, and it was like, listen, you know what, they can just, I don't even want to put it in their thong or between their boobs. They can just take the fucking money. I don't want even them to touch them. So if this is the same person who's now getting accused of being a sexual deviant pervert, you explain that one to me, because that makes no fucking sense to me at all. So that really gets me angry. And I'm just waiting, because I'm just buying my time. It's going to get me more angry when this happens, because I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen very soon. And I'm hoping before this even happens that these assholes at my job will lose their job or get moved to another building, or I'll be moved to another building. But I'm not going to deal with this much longer anyway before I actually lose my temper, or before they say, you know what, you need to go up to HR because you are sexually harassing this girl. You're making her feel uncomfortable. Because trust me, once I say that, they say that to me, I'm going to say, I want this on paper, so when I give it to my lawyer, we're going to see how far this is going to go in the court of law. And maybe that would be a blessing in disguise, because I will sue that fucking company for a lot of money, for definitely harassment, slander, and just amount of emotional distress it has put me through over the years that I've been at this job. In that building, I've been at the job for 13 years, going on 14, but the harassment has been nonstop since my one friend got removed from her job. Her job was eliminated, so she had to look for a job in a different building. So it just was like, you know what? It's been almost 2 years of just pure harassment, maybe a year of pure harassment. I'm going to make sure I get paid for all this bullshit. So just bring it on. Let these people know at my job that you can do it, but you better have really good proof, which would actually be all when it all is said and done, it's all going to be lies. But you better make it pretty convincing, because if you don't, which you won't be able to, you're going to be looking at a nice hefty lawsuit on my part, given to you, handed from a lawyer who will obviously prorate whatever the charges are from when I sue that company. He'll get his share out of that. And trust me, he's going to get paid pretty well, the lawyer who takes on this case. Because I'm sick of that shit. I really am. Anyway, on a lighter note, because I'm going to end the show pretty soon. It's getting late. I didn't realize it's almost going on 4 o'clock. Not quite, but it's getting close enough for me. I'm going to end Friday morning with a light story. I don't know if you know who this is, because I really don't know her. I've seen her in certain movies. This was on Cinema Blend, and it says who Jenna Malone is probably playing in Batman versus Superman. So they picked up another person. It's a teaser. And she was in the Hunger Games, they said. But she's actually going to play Commissioner Gordon's daughter, who you know who that is. Barbara Gordon, a.k.a. who is really Batgirl. So they're bringing her in, too. So that sounds pretty cool. Because I would think that came probably more so from the TV series. I don't know. But, yeah, they're bringing in Batgirl, too. So I didn't know that. It says, we still have 8 months until Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice arrives in theaters. But that's not going to stop rumor mill from spinning. The latest scuttlebutt to make the rounds involve the possibility identity of Jenna Malone's character in the movie. And then it just basically says forewarned, but I already ruined that basically she's supposed to play Commissioner Gordon's daughter. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's piquing my interest. So I'd actually like to see that. And they're actually doing it correctly, I guess. Because, I don't know, it looks like they're going to do it correctly. Because the girl's got short blonde hair. And if you ever watched the Batman TV series with Adam West, Barbara Gordon, she literally did have blonde hair that was short. And then she put on a red wig. Because it basically made it like she really did look like two different people. So I don't know how she's going to wear her hair. If she's going to wear it like the blonde, because there's another picture when she was in Hunger Games, and her hair was actually black with some red highlights. So I don't know which one she's going to go with. Hopefully the blonde hair. Maybe they're going to do it the same way they did in the TV series. I don't know. But it sounds like a good rumor, I'll tell you that much. So I was kind of happy. I just had to lighten the mood because obviously I got myself very worked up once again with what happened at work. For anybody in the Pennsylvania area, this was kind of shocking. I didn't know about this. It's Pittsburgh. It's in Pittsburgh, by the way. WizardCon in Pittsburgh is actually having a lot of really cool actors coming there. Shatner, Ian Somerhalder, James Marster. I'm naming the people I actually know. That's the ones I'm going to read off. Dean Cain, Lou Ferrigno, Adam Baldwin, Sean Patrick Flannery, Jason David Frank. I don't recognize. I'm trying to look at the ones I actually can say, okay, I know who this person is. Okay, that's cool. But yeah, it's really, really cool that they got these people. I'm sure it's going to cost an arm and a leg, but Jewel, I can't say her last name, but she played in Firefly and Serenity. So Ernest Hudson, he played in Ghostbusters, the black guy. He's really cool too. David Della Rocco, and now he played in. Oh, I thought he played. It says actor, the Boondock Saints, Boondock Saints 2, and All Saints 8. I don't really know those movies. I thought it was somebody I actually recognize. So, and the rest, Sean. Yeah, I read him. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and yeah, it seems a little bit more promising. They really didn't make any anything for the Philadelphia one for next year, because normally they tell you in advance who they're going to get at WizardCon, but now they got that thing going on around my house where they're having like big people come around the house. Which, hey, I'm not complaining. It's just those conventions are really expensive. I actually was pissed off because I think I mentioned this a while back, but the one girl I had a Love Jones with, she was some girl who played on this show called Even Stevens. She was actually right down the road from the house. I got a ticket specifically to get a picture with her, and I totally forgot about the convention. It was right down the road from where I live, too. That's the weird thing. So everyone, have a good night. I got to make sure I put that this is not appropriate for everyone to listen to. And I am signing off on this Friday morning. It's going on 4 a.m. So everyone, I am leaving the airwaves for now.